Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and we have gathered here once again today, and it's Doctor Who night, and it's the Seventh Doctor and Ace with Battlefield. And we are going to jump straight in. Let's start off with Susan and Alex. And I think if you're a long-time viewer, but of course you're the only viewer, you will know that Susan's a big Brigadier fan. Well, a little bit of a big Brigadier fan, aren't you, Susan?
You can say that again. Well,
we might need a mop and bucket for this one, might we, Susan? Because this is the last appearance of the Brigadier in Doctor Who, apart from the Sarah Jane Adventures. Oh, and yes, and the special, yes, that we want to talk about, Dimensions in Time.
Yes, well, I enjoy everything that Nicholas Courtney is in, and I enjoy the beauty of this story. I think that it's really cool. It's got Arthurian. It's got Arthur, who's a little wasted, and it's got Anselin and Mordred, and then eventually Morgaine shows up, and it's got Brigadier Bambera and Unit and a sort of broke down missile caravan, which is, really tempting for the alien invasion that comes. And it's got archaeology, and it's got a quaint English village along the lake shore, probably in the Lake District. I'm not really positive, but it was just pretty amazing. And there's so many little things in it. And there's the Brigadier and Doris. It begins with the Brigadier and Doris. He won her heart, and they got married, and they've set up housekeeping in a beautiful little home, and with a great big ginormous garden, which he is planting trees and other flora in. And so it was really exciting. And, well, that bit was really exciting for me, especially all the snogs she gives him as he's called away to work for Unit again. And he's like, I'm retired, and he can never quite get retired. He's never able to quit this set of circumstances that brings him into contact with the Doctor, because it's always about the Doctor and the Brigadier. Always. You must remember this. In every situation, in every incarnation, it's the Brigadier. Just so you know, that's the way it goes. Anyway, let's see. I think that I will end my bit here and pass it along to Alex.
Oh, Susan, I do have a question for you.
Why yes, Alan.
Originally, they were going to kill the Brigadier off.
I realize this.
Are you glad they didn't?
Of course I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Of course I'm glad they didn't. Because then that gave the Brigadier the ability to turn around and save the day again. I mean, he's never done saving the day. And if he would have been killed by the Destroyer of Worlds in any form or any function, he hadn't saved the day. It was a noble sacrifice, but the Brigadier is only able to save the day if he stays alive. Anyway,
apart from when he's a Cyberman.
Even when he's a Cyberman, he is pretty ubiquitously amazing. And I mean, he wouldn't have saved the day for Sarah Jane, and then that would have been a terrible situation,
I'm so glad
the Bane would have won. Yeah, so the Brigadier needs to stay alive. And so I'm sure that he'll be back at some point in whatever form, doing whatever situation. I don't know. He's the best character on Doctor Who. I feel this, and I want you to impart that to you guys.
No, I agree. I think outside the Doctor and the Companion, he's the best character. Yeah.
No. Even over the Doctor and the Companion.
No. It depends which
Brigadier
Doctor
is the best.
No, it depends which.
No, Alan. You're
I'm not going to win this one, am I?
here you are, Alex.
Oh, boy.
I love Joe and the Third Doctor equally, and the Brigadier.
All right. Well, now that we're done with the super fan bit, I really don't like Battlefield. There's only a few things that I like. I understand that they were trying to change Doctor Who, and they were trying to bring in the mystery, but there's so many things that I don't like about this episode. It's jumping around. It's trying to bring in 5,000 characters, which I know they were trying to, undo some of the damage that the fifth and especially the sixth Doctor had done. Unfortunately, it's not a bad story, but I'd rather watch Greatest Show in the Galaxy or Survival rather than this. Of course, you notice everyone's suffering from Space 1999 syndrome with the screaming. It does have a good cast, and I noticed that they brought in an Asian girl to be in the story as well. Not that she's given a lot to do, but obviously even John Nathan Turner was trying to change the program, and the writer and the script editor, which they had to do because it became a little too predictable. But I didn't. I know she had something to do, but I'm just saying, you felt, unfortunately, with Sylvester McCoy, it's the same thing like a lot of other Doctors, that they didn't really work on setting the stage. It didn't work on really writing the stories and the companions, that it really would have been interesting, if they really had polished it. And here with McCoy, even though I met McCoy in real life and I met Sophie Aldred in real life, and it's not their fault, but they were just trying too hard. Music's too loud. There's screaming. There's 10,000 characters. They're trying, but it's a little too hard. As far as the Brigadier, I'm glad he came back, but he's not my favorite. And I'm watching it for the Doctor.
Don't say that sitting next to Susan. Not say. We better stop you there, Alex. Move on from the Brigadier.
Yeah, I'm not watching it for the companions. I'm watching it for the Doctor. So, but like I said, it's not a bad story, but I'd rather be watching other stories of his era.
Let's go to Stephen Price, if he's there. No, let's go to Brian instead. Brian Battlefield. Oh, he's back. Yeah, we got him.
Yeah.
We found him. He went down to the well. So, Stephen, what do you make of Battlefield?
Yeah, I've seen this many times, and I've met the Asian girl that's in the episode. I met her about 3 years ago. Very nice woman. Yeah, I like this episode. And may I say, the awesome Brigadier is in it. And I like the part where he comes out and puts his uniform. He's back in it. It's not a superb episode. I enjoyed it. That's all I got to say for now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And of course, this is the episode where Sophie Aldred tells the story of how she nearly died. So let's go to Harry. See what Harry makes of Battlefield. And he's got the book as well.
Of course, Alan, I had the book. You ever know me not to have the book?
Yeah, he goes shopping with that book. He takes it everywhere.
I have my library not far from here, so I can just reach over and grab the books if I need them. But Battlefield is one of my personal favorites from the McCoy era. It's a fast-paced, well-written story. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's a Ben Aranovich story. And if you don't know Aranovich, I can suggest one other story of his from Doctor Who that you should read, you should watch, and if you can get the book, read it, because it's also a well-done book, and that is Remembrance of the Daleks. Mark Platt did the book, and he also had done one other book, which hopefully we'll get around to doing sometime, and that is Ghostlight. But as far as Battlefield to me is one of the well-paced, well-done stories. In fact, in my opinion, it's one of the three classics from the McCoy era. The other two being Remembrance and Curse of Fenric. And I'm a fan of the Brig, but I also love the fact that with this story, we're getting Unit back. We're getting the Unit that we know from the Pertwee era, from some of the stories in the Tom Baker era. I mean, this is the Unit that classic era fans love and appreciate. This is the Unit. I mean, as the Brigadier told the Doctor, Kevin, Unit people have been very busy. We've upgraded considerably since the last time you went walkabout. Well, the idea of non-stick Teflon bullets, gold bullets. Basically, Unit has done some significant weapons upgrade. They can take out both Cybermen, they can take out Daleks, they can take out Yeti. I mean, as I said, this to me is classic stuff, not just with the Brigadier, but with the Return of Unit. The whole thing is just so well paced, well done. I just have to say it. I love it. It is one of my favorites. Is stories from the McCoy era, one of my personal favorite stories from all time of the classic era. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Alan. We'll see what the others have to say.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry you didn't like it, Harry, but never mind. It's not for everyone, is it? You know, let's go to Beef Dad.
Good evening. Well, Battlefield is based on one of my favorite myths, which is the Arthurian legends. And the casting in this was just incredible. The casting was absolutely perfect. James Ellis, who people in England would remember from Z-Cars, playing the archaeologist. He's just superb. He is just absolutely superb in it. But Angela Bruce as the new Brigadier was also absolutely brilliant. She was absolutely brilliant. The thing that made me smile most during the first episode when it originally aired was when Angela Douglas turned up, and she had always been one of my favourites from the Cliff Richard films. She was great. Yeah, I really liked Shu Yung, the Asian girl that played the sort of. She ended up basically as the companion of Sophie Aldred, and they worked so well together. It was a joy to watch them. Yeah, the Destroyer was also very, very good, very, very creepy, but brilliantly acted. I mean, when you consider that he had all that stuff on, the actual acting was superb. Yeah, Mordred, yeah, Christopher Boeing as Mordred. Well, Mordred is Mordred in any Arthurian legend. He's also always a bit of a swine. And of course, his mother, Morgane, or as it was in the Arthurian legends, Morgana Le Fay, played by Jean Marsh. This was, I think, her third appearance. Yes, it was her third appearance in Doctor Who. And she is a brilliant, brilliant actress. She's also a brilliant, brilliant writer. I'm sure Lee's going to mention the television series she wrote. Sylvester was good. I liked Sylvester in this because he was actually much more physical in this than he was in a lot of his other ones. He really threw himself into it, and he was obviously enjoying himself. Sophie, yes, we've mentioned Sophie nearly having a really bad accident with the tank, the water tank. But I spoke to her about that was it last year? Yes, I think it was last year. And she said that it scared the crap out of her when she heard the glass go, because she was really scared. And so of course was Sylvester. And he shouted, "Get her out of there," to the people doing the effects. Unfortunately, they did. Anselin, yeah, he was good. He was good. And especially the relationship that was gradually building between him and Angela Bruce. It was that was so much fun to watch. And of course, King Arthur. What a brilliant piece of acting that was. How do you manage to just turn into dust? Yeah, I love the way they just basically pulled him out of his helmet. That just amused me so much. You know, so much for Arthur coming back when he's needed. Too late, he's turned to dust. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
And from Germany, let's go to Brian. Brian, what did you make of Battlefield? If you're with us and not too busy looking at other things that you shouldn't be looking at, you should be paying attention.
I wasn't looking at anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah, was. I saw your face lighting red.
No.
I don't know what you were watching, Brian, but it was yes. Anyway, what did you make of Battlefield?
I'll tell you about it after the cast.
What, Battlefield? No, we need it now.
No, not Battlefield, but what I was looking up.
Oh, right, okay. Right. No, do we want to know, Brian? Is this something that we don't want to know about?
Anyway.
Yeah, just stick to Battlefield, yeah.
Doctor Who Battlefield. I really enjoyed this story. I think it's one of the best Sylvester McCoy Doctor Who stories. Between this one, Remnants of Dogs, and Survival, I think, like, with those stories, I think they're my favorite with the McCoy era. So I absolutely enjoyed this story. It was great seeing the Brigadier back in action and everything. Who would not love the Brigadier? I mean, I know Susan does. But it was cool.
What makes you think Susan does?
Oh, the fact that she's been doing a little cosplay of him right now with the hat. And she can't stop talking about the Brigadier, so. So it was great seeing him back for this one last adventure with the Doctor. But unfortunately, it would have been nice to see Nicholas Courtney within New Who, but unfortunately, he passed away.
Well, he could have been in New Who because he was still alive during. He only died in 2012, something like that. He died the same year as Elizabeth Sladen, which that was a bad year.
But I mean, at least we got him within Sarah Jane. That was a pretty cool deal. I gotta say though that this story was it kind of was, to me, it felt like it was a bit dark within a McCoy Ellis story.
Dark as in it looked visually dark, or dark as in the story was dark, as in
The story itself. But which is I'm actually okay with that. I mean, I think for that time of era, especially with McCoy's Doctor, I think darker stories work good with his Doctor. Whether with the story and the mysteriousness of his elements with his Doctor, I think it works perfectly.
Did you like Curse of Fenric then? Have you seen that one? Because that's quite dark.
Oh yeah, I love Knights of Arthurian. That is one of the best. I should have mentioned that one as well, but I love that story. I love that story. I love this story, a whole bunch of McCoy's, especially like his second season as the Doctor is mostly from where he shines as the Doctor. So I absolutely love this story.
Apart from The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, which is amazing.
Was that the second year as his Doctor?
No.
I didn't know. I mean, I wasn't born that year. I don't know like when the second season starts and ends. Come on.
What's up, Susan? Alex.
Yeah, no, it does. But like I said, remember that it's the same. It's similar in the sense that they didn't really, just like a lot of doctors, they don't have the full characterization the first year necessarily in a lot of cases. And then the problem was, just like with the Sixth Doctor, he kind of got interrupted, brought back, and then canceled, and so they really didn't have it like they do now, where they can actually focus on, you know,
They don't have it
yeah, they don't have it now either, of a 4 year before year run. But back then it was off and on since 85 to 89. It was kind of off and on, and then they canceled it. They put it on hiatus and then canceled it. So they can't have a lot of character development when you're kind of under that stress.
And
exactly,
McCoy had 2 seasons and years before it got canceled, right?
Yeah, it's
3 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, I like his second costume that he had before in his second year, like the brown coat. I didn't really like the tan coat that much. I like the brown one better.
Oh well.
Anyway, by contract, we have to go to Lee. I don't know why he's waving.
I'm still here.
All right, you were going. I thought you were leaving us.
Let's get things straight. The McCoy's brown coat was the 3rd season, and the TV show that Gene Marsh wrote was Upstairs and Downstairs.
Ah.
I just had to do that because my dad lined it up. For me, this is a perfect start to a brilliant season. It's a brilliant opening to a season, and I don't know what Alex was on about by too much screaming. There was hardly any screaming in it. There was only a few screams when the lights went out.
Wait there. I think it could have been Susan beside him screaming because the Brigadier came on. I think that's... he couldn't hear a thing that was happening in the episode because he had to sing.
I mean, not that it's really important, but you had the blind woman who gained back to her sight. Then you had the screaming when the lights went out. Then you had the screaming from the warrior maid. Remember the woman that came in? Yeah.
2 screams.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, that's too many. All right, okay.
God help if you ever watched an episode with Melon.
Screams is a little too much for apparently Alex.
You wait till you watch Time with Arani. Go on, Lee.
As it's been mentioned, Gene Marsh's 3rd appearance in Doctor Who, but also it's the first, shall we say, meet up again with Nicholas Courtney and Jean Marsh since the Dalek Master Plan, where they played brother and sister, which was a brilliant story. But Jean Marsh,
she killed him, and then in this one, he arrests her for the murder of himself.
yeah, but and I say Angela Bruce's Bambera, brilliant Brigadier, and it's a shame she didn't get to return on TV, but she came back in the big finish audio. It's a good story, and the Destroyer, brilliant makeup. I think I've said this before. The actor got the part because JNT was so impressed the way he could expand his chest and burst the shirt. And the actor played a Russian soldier in Case of Fenric, who played the Destroyer. Because Case of Fenric was filmed before this one. And there's also one nobody's mentioned it. Bessie returns. Yeah, I mean that was such a great thing because I wasn't expecting that when it was broadcast. I didn't, there we are, we unveiled Bessie. But yeah, brilliant moment there. I think it's a good story. And what Brian was saying about dark, McCoy's Doctor started to go dark mid-season 2. And they sort of carried it on into season 3. And I enjoyed that, getting darker and darker, the mysterious mystery of the Doctor. I think that's a brilliant thing. What else was I going to say? Remind me.
Well, they brought back the mysterious elements of the Doctor because McCoy thought you knew too much with the previous Doctors that came before that.
Well, no, Andrew Cartmel wanted to bring back the mystery of the Doctor.
You don't need to know everything about him. You just know that he's the Doctor and he travels in time and space and saves people. That's
which I think the new series has lost its way with that.
Well, the new series have made him into a godlike figure, and I don't.
Yeah.
And was that the original car of Betsy that John Pertwee had, or did they just make a new one?
Yeah, it's the original, I think. Yeah.
It's not Betsy, it's Bessie.
Betsy, whatever.
Betsy.
General point is it the new car?
Actually, they did have to modify the front of the car to fit the engine in because it was a different engine. So the bonnet at the front bit is longer.
Ah.
There was something else I had to say, but it might come to me.
Well, how long do we have to wait? I mean, at your age, it could be a while.
I'm no good with names, but Robert Jezek played one of the unit soldiers. He also voiced the character Frobisher in the audios.
The Penguin.
Yeah, the Penguin. Yeah. There was something else. I know there was something else I had to mention. But carry on. You carry on, and it might come to me.
Well, of course, they brought in the Brigadier's wife as well. So you also had a lot of interplay between the Doctor as Merlin fighting Morgaine or Morgan of the Fae, whichever name they gave her.
Morgana.
Then you had the unit, the new version of unit fighting the Arthurian soldiers, maybe. And then you had also the Battle of the Sexes because you had Bambera, then you had Brigadier, then you had the woman that was with the Brigadier and the helicopter and all that stuff. So you actually had a lot of... That's what I mean. It was trying to be too ambitious, but that's fine. At least it tried. It's just I didn't like the way it was directed and edited together. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah, but did you watch the original aired version or did you watch the special edition?
Both.
Oh, you watched both?
Yeah, just like with Silver and Nemesis. Remember that they were advertising on the DVD that there was 5 minutes or whatever of extra.
This has got the special edition disc and the televised one.
Yeah, so.
I've remembered what else I had to say.
Yes, go on.
Morgana, or whatever.
Morgana. It's easy, Morgana.
It's Morgaine in the episode. Morgaine.
Yeah, I say Morgana. It's Morgana.
Okay.
Right.
But, it turns out in the end she's not the villain.
No.
she gave the woman back her sight. That's villains don't do that.
Yeah.
It turns out she was in love with Arthur. So it was just all about love.
Yes.
That was it. Was it worth the
Thank
wait?
you for that, Lee. That was, yes. Waited all this time for that. Yes, it was worth the wait, Lee. It was worth the wait. I absolutely love this episode. I think this has everything you want in a Doctor Who episode. It has a great Doctor. It has a great companion. It has a great monster. It has great guest stars. I mean, you've got the return of the Brigadier, which is amazing because Nicholas Courtney is just brilliant. And, you know, there's no more that can be said about Nicholas Courtney, how amazing he is. I mean, even in this episode, he just shines. And then, of course, you've got the new Brigadier, who's amazing. The new Brigadier is really, really good. I think she's great in the part. It's a shame that she's not come back for New Who, because I think she's perfectly suited. And I would say this is the last good episode with UNIT. This is the last good episode with a Brigadier.
Well, they don't have UNIT any more Classic Who after that, right?
No.
Yeah, so it is the last good
No,
UNIT.
this is the last. This is the last great one. I don't like UNIT in the music.
Because next time we see UNIT is in New Who with
Sultan's in it.
with
but
David.
Sultan.
Yeah, but that unit is crap.
Yeah, this is the last good episode.
Yeah,
This
that's
is the
what I'm
last
saying.
Good episode with UNIT.
I'm agreeing with you
Yeah.
now because the classic UNIT with classic Who doctors and everything are better.
Yeah, and of course in this you've got.
Sorry,
Yeah, go on, Harry.
I'll take the classic era unit over the new Who unit. It just doesn't work. I mean, it's simple. It's like instead of being United Nations Intelligence Task Force, it's something completely different. You're not equipped for battle. You're not equipped to go in and take care of situations. It's like, oh, we got to sit back and observe and report back to headquarters and see what's said.
Wow.
Do that in a battle. You go in, you take care of what needs to be done, and go from there.
The only thing I like about New UNIT and New Who is Kate and Osgood.
Oh no, come on! I can't stand Kate. I'm sorry, I really cannot stand Kate.
Yeah,
I think she's terrible.
That's an insult to the Brigadier bringing her.
I agree with that. I'm agreeing.
Sir, if you want to see a better version of Kate Stewart, watch Downtime.
Yeah, because she appears. Yes, the character appears in that.
With the Brigadier, Sarah Jane Smith, and Victoria.
Isn't that her first episode? Even though it's not official.
It's not official Doctor Who. It was independently made. You've got the Great Intelligence, you've got the Yetis, you've got the Brigadier, Sarah Jane, and Victoria Waterfield, and Professor Travers, all in one story. Brilliant. And that introduced Kate Stewart.
I've only ever watched it once.
It is good. Yeah.
I never even heard of it. What's it called?
They made these 90s like spin-off. It was fan made.
Oh, fan made.
Yeah, but it's interesting because some of the actors and actresses from Doctor Who actually appear in it. But Sarah,
Downtown. Is it on YouTube or Dailymotion?
But they're not playing the actual characters, are they? Elizabeth Sladen's not Sarah Jane.
Yes, she is, and so is Carol Ann Ford and Deborah Watling and.
What's Carol Ann Ford is Susan in it?
Carol Ann Ford's not in it.
No.
Oh, am I getting this confused with another one?
Yeah.
You're thinking of Shakedown.
So in that one, the characters are actually the actresses and actors are actually.
Sorry.
You've got the Brigadier. He's called out of retirement again, and Sarah Jane's is investigating something, and there is woman who turns out to be Victoria Waterfield.
Is that on Dailymotion or YouTube or something?
Okay, Brian, I'll tell you later, okay? I'll explain later.
Okay.
So, well, obviously, that's another debate between the classic Who and the new Who. Is the unfortunately when it was canceled, when there was still a lot of fans, but the BBC didn't know what to do with it, and they decided that it was old hat and nobody wanted it anymore. And that's where you got into the wilderness years where
But
they
the problem
combined
is,
things and they didn't, yeah, and all that. So this is
The
for
problem
people
is-
that don't
the
already
problem
know.
is, Doctor Who did go through a bit of a bad patch, but at this point, the show's brilliant again. Even after this episode, you've got a good run of episodes till the end, till the very end. I mean, there's several good ones. I mean, The Curse of Fenric, Survival.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ghost
Sylvester
Slide.
McCoy
Yeah,
is
Ghost Slide.
Sylvester McCoy is very underrated because of a few stories of his
Yeah.
that aren't so good.
But
Pamela Rani.
I apologize, Alan. Of course, Harry has the books, and the books,
Yeah.
of course, are different and flesh out the characters.
You've set him
So
off
if
now.
you want
You've
to,
said-
right? So if you want to know more about
They do.
McCoy's era, that's where you read the books for a little bit more fleshed out story.
Especially
yeah.
the novelization of Battlefield. I mean, Mark Platt, he just knocked it out of the ballpark. That's all I got to say. He knocked it out of the ballpark with the novelization.
But can I just say, maybe Alex, you need to start reading the books.
Oh, Alex just read all the books.
Oh, you've read all the books.
Yeah, Alex had a complete library until somebody ripped it off from him.
Hey,
So like I said, I am a fan of Sylvester McCoy. I think it's just the way that they edited and directed his episodes. A lot of them don't wear well, especially that loud background music is very annoying. But it's not that he's a bad doctor, but again, it's a bad patch. And then they were trying to be very artistic and have 1,000 characters. So it's kind of jarring, unfortunately, even though it is very well done. And it's Doctor Who has always been good in doing things on TV with almost no budget, being very eccentric, and that's wonderful. But it is a little bit jarring sometimes, especially with the background music is terrible. But it is a great doctor. It's just the way that I think they were trying to make everything into a mini movie. And of course, don't forget about the Fox TV movie, which we don't mention because that's the 8th Doctor, even though the 7th Doctor's in it as well.
skipping ahead now, Alex. You got.
I know.
No, always refer to the 8th Doctor's movie.
Right.
Always.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I'm
Don't
sorry.
argue with me, sis. And I'm trying to say it for the benefit of people that aren't fans.
But can I just say, the one thing with this episode, honestly, Jean Marsh is the icing on the cake of this episode. I think she's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and I
She
also
really makes it for me, honestly.
Hey,
Driving
I
boys.
gotta agree, Alan. Gene Marsh knocked it out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
It's the answer. What's about it? I mean, her third appearance, her first one in the Crusade, Hartnell, and Dalek Master Plan, and now coming back after all these years and doing Battlefield. I mean, I don't think you could have ever gotten anybody better to play more game than her.
Could we let Alan finish, please?
No, I'm basically done now. I'm basically
all
done.
right. I'm sorry. I just got grumpy because nobody was letting you finish.
Is Jean Marsh still alive? Yeah, she's still alive. Yeah, that's okay. He's gonna say something.
She's 5.
She's what? 95.
85, I think.
Oh, 85. Yeah. No, I was wondering because she hasn't been seen. She hasn't been on TV for a while, has she?
And also, as well, she had another Doctor Who connection because she used to be married to John Pertwee.
Oh, did she? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, for about maybe, I don't know, a year to 5 years, something like that.
like the House of Elliot as well.
Yeah.
We might as well go into favourite moments. Lee, you might as well give us your favourite moments. You've just unmuted yourself now.
I think every time Jean Marsh is on the screen, it just lightens up. I think the interplay with her and the Brigadier at the War Memorial in the village is so brilliant. The next time we will meet, I will kill you. That is just brilliant scene. The Destroyer is just, I mean, the Destroyer's not in it much, but when he's there, the old chain and that lot, and when she does set him free, you think, why have you done that? But so easily defeated. Someone who was going to devour the world, silver bullet. I thought they'd come with something a bit more. I thought there might have been because with the nuclear missile there. I thought they'd been to do something with that.
Well, it would be the sonic screwdriver today, so it's. When you look at it like that, it's not too bad, is it, Lee? When you think about it, a silver bullet versus the sonic screwdriver, silver bullet any day. Let's go to Alex and Susan. Favorite moments.
Yeah.
Well, can I just say, I like Time with Rani.
Yeah, I like it too.
I like Time with Rani. Carry on, Alex.
But I also bought the book and I saw the TV show The House of Elliot when Jean Marsh was still on television. But yeah, she was married to John Pertwee, the third Doctor, as well. Like I said, I do like the Seventh Doctor. It's just a little jarring, and I did read a lot of the books, and I also read the books in the '90s when he continued on with Bernice Summerfield, and Doctor Who's all timey-wimey. It's always been timey-wimey. They just found a way to coin a phrase. But, you know, some things are canon, some things are not. And of course, with any science
Alex, please don't go into canon.
I know. But I'm just saying, because I read a lot of the Virgin novelizations. I read a few of the BBC books. And of course, we all know about Big Finish if you've watched these videos as well. But I was also saying it for the benefit
Who watches these videos?
That's
just a lot of them.
That I was saying all this for people that weren't diehard fans.
As much as we say people aren't watching our videos, they actually are watching our videos.
I still don't know what Alex's favorite moments are.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I was trying to edit it down. Like I said, I do like that the Brigadier.
Down, Alex. You carry on.
I do like that the Brigadier came back, and I don't want him as a cyber Brigadier. I think they should have kept that part of UNIT, but I understand why they wanted to change it. And the 10th, 11th, and 12th Doctor, new versions of Who. I did like the fact that they had. Oh, the screen went out. Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you.
Wait a minute. The screen went out. But like I said, there was a lot of. It's not a bad story. I just didn't like the way it was edited together. I think that's what it is. But like I said, McCoy is a good Doctor.
Susan, can I just say I still don't know what Alex's favorite moments are.
I said the Brigadier came back. I said about the Asian girl. I said about Jean Marsh. I think it's understood. No.
Yeah, okay, Jean Marsh is your favourite moment. That's okay, we'll take that. All I heard is I don't like the editing. Carry on, Susan.
All right. I will say that my favorite moments are any time that the Brigadier is on screen, and I think that any time that I love the helicopter scene. Especially when the helicopter blows up and they have to die for it because that's them doing their own stunt. Mm-hmm. And then the explosion is behind them. And back in that day, I'm not entirely sure. And there was a lot of explosions. Ace got to blow up a spaceship. She was thrilled by that. And the Brigadier was with her. And so that was fun. And then there was the explosion after the Destroyer gets shot by the Brigadier, and the part that I always argue with is when he says, "Women, they're just not my forte." I'm like, whatever, Brigadier. Women are your forte. I mean, like, let's get really honest with him. You know, the Seventh Doctor doesn't argue with them, but had I been, standing with Ace and Xiao Yung, I would have totally said, listen, mate, women are totally your thing. anyway. So it was that those were great, and then I love the part. I love the part where Anselin and Bambera are running around, and first of all he asks her if she asks him if he's married, and then he turns around and asks her if she's married or if she's betrothed, and so there was that kind of romance. And see, I do agree with Beef Dad again that it was all about love. Oh, and Lee too, that it was all about love. That there were cute romances, and that it was all about love.
Don't start agreeing with Lee. Don't start doing that, Susan. That's a very worrying sign. Let's go to Stephen. We haven't heard from Stephen in a while.
Favorite moments, the Brigadier.
We can't hear you, Stephen. You're going to need to speak up.
My favorite moments, can you hear me now?
Yep, that's fine.
My favorite moments when the first Brigadier comes out with his uniform on. The first appearance of Jean Marsh. Bit overacting in some parts. It was a good episode. Better than Sylvester McCoy's early ones.
Yeah.
Really good.
No, he does get better as time goes on, especially now. Let's go to Beef Dad for favourite moments, and then we're going to go to Brian. So, Brian, prepare yourself.
As I've already said, I loved the first appearance of Briggs' wife. That was great. I loved Ace's reaction because on 2 different occasions she was allowed to blow things up in this, and the look of joy on her face was just absolute magic. And yeah, some of the sword fights were absolutely brilliant. They were so well done. The meeting between Nicholas Courtney and Angela Douglas was pretty magic. And the thing that really, really got me, it was a perfect end to this, was when they were all back at Nicholas Courtney's place and the girls were all going out for a girls' night out. You got Angela Bruce, Angela Douglas, Shu Young, and well, basically it was all the girls with the exception of Jean Marsh, all in Bessie and zooming off for a girls' night out. That was just brilliant. That was just so funny.
That's it. Let's move over to Brian. When he stopped looking at Tinder.
I'm not.
What's your favourite moments of Battlefield, Brian?
Trying to text.
I don't know what you're on. What do you think of Battlefield? What's your favourite moments?
I love Battlefield.
Yeah, I know, but what's your favourite moments?
Favorite moments, I believe, would have to be when. Well, I think my first favorite moment would have to be from when Brigadier first meets the 7th Doctor. And because this is the first time that Brigadier meets the 7th Doctor. So it's always cool seeing Brigadier. It's always cool seeing Brigadier, seeing the different incarnations of the Doctor. So I think that's my first favorite moment. My second favorite moment is probably when they bring out Bessie again, and they have the Seventh Doctor, Professor McCoy, driving it because it was the Third Doctor's vehicle, so it was cool seeing McCoy's Doctor driving it instead. And I think my last and final favorite moment were the resolvement and battle between the Doctor and the alien and everything. So I think like the special effects, the battle itself was absolutely amazing and cool. I just loved it. So I think those are my favorite moments.
Yes, thank you, Brian. We'll let you get back to your important messenger. Let's go over to Harry for favorite moments.
I actually have two favorite moments from the show and one favorite moment from the book. From the show, first one is after the explosion, the first explosion Ace sets off. And the Doctor just turns to her and says, Ace, one of these days, the two of us have got to sit down and have a long talk about safety standards and explosives. I mean, that's just a classic line. Or as I'm often fond of saying, Ace, one of these days we've got to sit down and have a long talk about safety standards and explosives.
I love your expression of the Seventh Doctor. I love. I thought he was in the room. I thought he was in the room, Harry. I thought.
The second scene is where the Doctor is facing Morgaine. And Morgaine's saying, I can always beat you at chess. And the Doctor says, but this time I'm playing poker. And that's when Ace comes in with the sword. He turns to her and says, hand me the silver bullets. Basically, you're getting another hint at something that's always been talked about with McCoy. His Doctor was always the game-playing Doctor, always having something up his sleeve, some sort of game going on. The scene for the book is one that's going to bring a lot of tears and a lot of smiles to a lot of people. It's at the end. It's during the time when they're talking about all the weapons and all the special weapons that were brought in by unit and such. And after the Doctor mentions the Brigadier looking into seeing whether they got silver bullets, in the book it mentions he slips into his pocket and pulls out a whistle. And he blows on that whistle. That's no ordinary whistle. It's a high-frequency sonic signal device. As for one companion in particular, if he'd heard it, he would have been coming in and saying, Master, because it would have been a signal to bring K9 in.
Oh, yeah, I would have loved to have seen K9 in this episode. Been awesome. But yeah, my favourites, well, I have a few favourite scenes. I like any scene with Jean Martian. I think she just steals every scene that there is, as long as with the Brigadier. I do like when we discover that the Brigadier is still alive, because there's a moment where you think he's dead. And, of course, he's still alive. And I like the Destroyer, the scenes with the Destroyer, even though I don't like his downfall. I think they got through that a bit too easy, I think. But yeah, there's a lot in this episode to like, I think. And it's just a great story. Like I say, it's got everything you want. Let's go, final say and score. Let's go to Susan and Alex for final say and score.
Okay, first of all, I just like to okay.
Yep.
So my in my final say, I'm going to say that yeah, it would have been nice to see K9. That would have been cool. But the fact that this had everything in it, it had the final, or the culmination of 25-year romance between Doris and the Brigadier, which gave him the watch that allowed him to be discovered by the mind reader in the Third Doctor episode, and the whole confrontation with Arthur, and then the alien spaceship in the lake. I mean, there was so many cool things that were wrapped up in this. Arthur's legend, the romance, all these things. I thought that was really, really terrific. So I guess I'll just wrap up and say I'll give this 23 out of 10. And here's Alex.
Wait, that low?
Yeah, very fun.
Not low.
I know out of 100 that's
come
low,
on, it
but
can
out
be
of 10
1,000
that's
out of 10, Susan.
Uh,
1,000 out of 10. Come on. How much is the Brigadier worth?
The Brigadier is worth. He is an infinite value of infinite value in the world, of infinite value in Doctor Who,
this should be
and of infinite value to this fan.
And I have to say, this episode really was great. How it wrote the Brigadier. Like, this is the Brigadier that we love.
Yeah, he was powerful,
and he's so heavily involved in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so important to this episode.
Yes.
So it's a really good final outing for him. And even though this is his official last Doctor Who episode, what an episode to go out on for him.
Yeah, and he got to say things like, I'm doing the best I can, get off my world. If you turn away right now, then we can avoid bloodshed. All these amazing, Brigley lines. He's just got the most amazing Brigley lines. It's just cool.
But the writers did a good job with him.
Yeah.
They did a good job with him. At least it wasn't like a 5-minute cameo at the end.
I really agree. Yeah. But 23 out of 10 is a good score for this. I don't think anybody's going to get higher than me in this cast.
So, the challenge is on. Whoa.
So there you go.
The challenge is on, Harry.
Yeah, perhaps it needed one more episode, maybe. It's too bad.
Alex, are you going to give it higher or lower than 23?
I'm not a big Brigadier fan. I'm going to give this whole story a 7.5. It probably could have used one more episode. I do like the Brigadier, but not the same that Susan likes him. It's too bad that he had to die off. It's too bad he couldn't have been in the New Who. I think that would have been really good instead of just the saying that he was with the Cybermen. I don't buy it. I don't think he would have been converted. I just don't buy it. It's probably trying to do too much. You can see that they had good ideas there. It's just the editing, the music, the direction. It didn't quite work. I didn't like, what's his name? The Morgane's son. Did not like him. Really overacting. And I think it's also trying to be too fast-paced. It probably would have benefited from one more episode and slow it down. But like I said, the books actually flesh out a lot of the Seventh Doctor's stories. And it's more coherent than a lot of the episodes that he's in. And even Sylvester McCoy admitted that they've treated him pretty badly. They said, justify yourself, And, he had a tough time. He had a tough time as the Doctor as well. But like I said, the stories do get better. There's a lot more. It's not as violent or as nasty as a lot of the Sixth Doctor episodes, so you have to give it that as well. But as I said, this was the old Doctor Who, and they were trying. It's just that they should have changed the producer, and the editing and the music was not totally up to snuff. But that being said, there are special editions with maybe 5 to 10 more minutes added in. But I prefer, even Ghostlight is a little overacted even though the book is superb. I've shown it to people that aren't Doctor Who fans, and they love the novelization of Ghostlight, as a matter of fact. So.
But this is Doctor Who we're talking about, Alex, with overacting. Yeah, this is Doctor Who we're talking. Let's go to Harry for final say and score.
What can I say? Personal favorite story of mine. Story I consider one of the 3 classics from the McCoy era. Susan, you're probably going to hate me for saying this, but I can only go on a scale of 1 to 10. And to me, this, if I could take it higher than 10, I would. But to me, 10 out of 10 is the max I can give it. But it is great. This is the way that the McCoy era should have been done. Well-plotted scripts, nice hints about the game playing. This is just classic. I mean, I can't say more than that. 10 out of 10. That's the way I'm going to have to rate it.
Let's go to Beef Dad. Yes, he looks a bit surprised.
Brilliant. And of course, the other brilliant moment that nobody's mentioned, and I left it just in case I thought somebody would do, was when Ace became the Lady of the Lake and brought out Excalibur out of the lake, and that was a brilliant moment. It's moments like that that make this such an absolutely brilliant story. And I disagree with Alex about the direction and the cutting, because I thought it was done really well. I really enjoyed it. It's a solid platinum 10 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Solid platinum. Can Brian beat that? What's your score out of 10, Brian? Can you beat a solid platinum 10 out of 10? Or Susan's, what was it, 23 out of 10?
I would probably give this story a 10 out of 10 Alid.
Thank you for that, Brian. Let's go to Stephen. Final say and score.
Good episode. I'd give it 27 out of 27.
Okay, so that's still 10 out of 10, really. Yeah. Lee, let's that still equals 10 out of 10.
Can I just say what
no, you
Alex
can't.
mentioned?
Let's just give us a score. Give us a score. Sedate him, please. Sedate him. Nurses,
Alex,
get the nurses in.
Alex mentioned that the Brigadier wouldn't have let the Cybermen convert him. The Brigadier didn't have much choice because he was dead.
Yeah, but how does that even work? Because he wouldn't have even been bones, really, would he, now? Because you get eaten.
We digress. I don't want to talk about that episode.
And he could have been cremated, so how does that work? We don't know from the TV series.
Also in this episode, keep the Doctor away from empty packets of crisps. And one last thing, kids, always stay in the chalk circle. So, on that note, it's a good start to the season, but I do like 2 more stories in the season, along the season. So I'm going to give this one 8.75.
And can I just say there's no kids watching this?
Okay, grown-ups, stay in the chalk circle.
No, there's no grown-ups watching this either.
Okay, Fred.
Yeah, that's it, Fred.
Fred in Surrey. Always stay in the chalk circle.
There you go, Fred. You finally got that shout-out that you wanted. Our one viewer, Alex, Fred. Wait, give him away.
No, well, I would like to say, if I may, and of course Lee and Beef Dad
you're going to admit that
Alan
from Sussex.
will admit that there is now a Facebook page of Geeks Assembled where there are more viewers of the videos, as a matter of fact.
No, we can't be having this, Alex. Shut it down. We can't be having this.
We're It doesn't show up on YouTube anyway.
Well, what am I going to rate it? Do you know what? It is the perfect Doctor Who story, really, because it's got all the elements that you want, and it's back when Doctor Who's really got its mojo back at this point. Doctor Who's really firing on all cylinders again. It's got some spunk to it, you know. So I'm going to give it. Do you know what? I'm going to give it 24 out of 10. I'm going to go one higher than Susan. I'm going to give it 24 because Susan says nobody's going to get any higher. Yes, I am. I'm going to give it 24 out of 10. Sorry, Susan. I love the Brigadier more than you do.
Is that even possible?
Oh dear! Wow. Well, I know.
It's just the uniform he likes.
I see.
Let's not go into that, Lee.
I will be.
I'll see you on webcam later. Just polish those boots.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear, dear, dear. Alex, help me. I'd like to thank everybody here for joining me. I'd like to thank you for watching. Take a big sip, Lee. Tell us what you make of Battlefield, your favourite moments. Give us a score as well. We do read all the comments. I promise you, every single comment we get for every video, we read them. We make sure we do. We have Alex on the team who's always reading the comments. I mean, he's addicted to those comments, the bloke is. So make sure you leave them. Look after yourself. Take care. And we will see you next time.
Bye.